Yes, very happy to be here today with our panelists, our speakers for today. So I'll be the moderator for the this afternoon session, and we'll be talking about the DNA of what is actually Nusantara food. And we're gonna also talk about the confluences, the ingredients, and also the methods of preparation. So let me sit down, get myself comfortable. And how are you guys? Are you comfortable? Awesome. So, before we begin, since we're gonna talk about Nusantara, and many of you maybe have a question in mind. So, what is actually Nusantara? So, let's just ask to our panelists right now about what and where is Nusantara, and in your opinion or what you've learned about it, what are the boundaries of Nusantara and what makes Nusantara Nusantara? Who wants to start? Yes, maybe you can do it, Mas Fadli.
Yeah, okay, Mas Archie. Thank you. Yeah, Nusantara is a geographical concept that already existed long before our nation state boundaries right now. Yeah. And there was no Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, and etc. But the concept of Nusantara has brought from in Southeast Asia and in Majapahit Empire in Java. The this kingdom has the reign, yeah, that the powers including most of Southeast Asia. So these words derive from two words, Nusa and Antara. Nusa for islands and Antara in between. So this make this geographical concept. And you know, in present day, Indonesia used the word Nusantara for the name of the modern capital city in Borneo. So I don't know, for the Singaporean and also Malaysian to respond this. Jangan. Yeah, that's the definition for me. Yeah.
Right. Anybody wants to ask to add anything? If okay, okay. If not, we're gonna go on to our next question. Now, talking about Nusantara, and also since we're here for the food, what signifies Nusantara food, and what are the main characteristics of the food here in Nusantara?
I think I would like to offer maybe a more abstract opinion on it. I think Nusantara food, because it's very, very diverse. I mean, it traverses Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore. But I think maybe the commonalities are that they're very multi-layered as dishes. So it's never just one thing. It's typically layered on top of each other with other components as well. So I think it's also very laborious and somewhat time-consuming, some of the dishes to make. So when you eat a Nusantaran dish, I think you get a certain sensation, and typically that's that the flavors are very robust, and that they're also memorable. So it's not just like when someone gives you a steak and they say, oh, I just seasoned it with salt and pepper, you don't get that feeling of just, okay, with salt and pepper. This one is always multi-layered. There's, typically like galangal, or there's chili, there's maybe a bit of ulam, there's a lot of ulam in Malay cuisine as well. So in a very abstract way, I feel that it is a very multi-layered cuisine.
And what is ulam actually?
Oh, so in Malaysia, ulam is a range of herbs, shoots, anything that's got regenerative or medicinal value. So I think previously there were over 1,000 different kinds in Malaysia, but that number has dwindled. So the last time I spoke to a food anthropologist, they've identified about 120 in Malaysia. And so typically these ulam, some Malay people, I've actually gone with an old Malay uncle to his garden. He had like 36 different kinds of ulam that he was growing.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was just eating it as is. Because he said when he grew up in his kampong, they used to just walk around and pluck all this ulam and they would eat it. But a lot of times it's also accompanied by a sambal. And so there are many different kinds of ulam, and you can use it in, like they have nasi ulam 44, which is 44 different kinds of ulam. There's also tempoyak daun racik, which is tempoyak with julienne ulam in it, so 9 different kinds typically. Yeah, so lots of different ways well, that's just one part of it, but yes, ulam, at least my understanding of Malay food in Malaysia, incorporates a lot of ulam.
Right, it needs to be medicinal.
That is typically, yeah. So
ulam.
because, I was talking to you yesterday about how sometimes you go to a hotel buffet and tomatoes will be included as like an ulam station. But it's commercially,
not,
it's commercially produced. So, there's pesticides and things like that. So normally an ulam has a value to it, and traditionally, people would grow it in their backyards, or it was foraged or things like that. So there's a value and a sentiment to it, but also it was medicinal, or in its traditional format.
Right. So what signifies it's you're saying the ulam, and Annette, maybe you want something to add?
Since she's gone for the abstract, I'll take the literal, I suppose. I think mainly it's rice as a staple. So whether it's eating rice with your meal or rice flour and kueh and noodles and things like that. I think rumpa and sambal is something that's very unique to the region. The act of pounding and tumis, that's something that the region shares as well. Perkasam, the fermented, where they ferment either beef or fish, right? And you put it in toasted rice and salt and you ferment. So I feel those are, the unique dishes and techniques that you would find here that's common to the region.
I want to add from my point of view at least. So I just learned about Pakasam quite recent, just about a year ago. Because so I live in Jakarta. I'm based in Jakarta. I'm half Javanese, hence this beautiful batik sarung that I'm wearing right now, and I'm half Sundanese. And we've never heard of Pakasam in the Java Island. We don't have that technique of fermenting fish with rice. Though I found a similar dish to Pakasam in Kalimantan, in the Adan Krayan tribes. So again, of course, it's a very hard topic to Nusantara is a big string of islands, and so many food are going around there. So I want to ask Mas Fadli, what do you think about the Nusantara food? What signifies it?
Yeah, Nusantara is shaped by the same climate, and also this the environmental condition. The environmental condition is also shape the same flora and fauna. If we look to the part of west and east of Indonesia, there is same, but also there is different when we look to the Wallace line. So if you look to this Wallace line, the food culture is also different. In western part, we can see the same food culture. Most of the people's consuming rice and fish, fermented a product that you already mentioned. And in the eastern part, most consuming sagu, tubers, and this how we understand about the differentiations between western and eastern part of Nusantara. And most of the consumptions in Nusantara, you already mentioned about rice, and I will add tubers, sagu, and fish with the people's process fish with the fermentation process, and also we can see the development of the food culture in Nusantara through the two straits in Malacca and Java. Yeah, yeah. There is the development of food culture that shaped by the interactions between peoples in Nusantara with the foreign culture from China, from India, from European, and from Middle East. So this shaped the image of Nusantara food culture of today.
Right, right. So you're saying that the traders back then, right? They brought themselves their goods and also their cultures that influences the culture in Sumatra through the Strait of Malacca, and also the Javanese through the Strait of Sunda. So how about the cultures that are in, for example, Sulawesi, and maybe parts of Papua, and what we know now as Nusantara, or what we know back then as Nusantara? Philippines was also part of it, especially the southern part of Philippines, of Mindanao. So does their culture influences how the foods are shaped in Nusantara?
Yeah, this question is very interesting because when we see the geographical conditions outside Java and Sumatra, for instance, in Sulawesi, in Maluku, and to Papua, the image of food culture is very different. Yeah, in Sulawesi, for instance, in Manado, that has influence from Spain, from Portuguese also. They broke the Luso culture, broke the influence of new food crops, so like corn, yeah, or maize, and you can see the bubur Manado, yeah,
Right.
yeah. So they show maize for the main of this porridge, yeah, and the missionary activities since 18th century until 19th century also broke new food culture. Yeah, if you see clapper tart,
Kelapa
yeah,
tart, yeah.
clapper tart in
Manadonese coconut cake.
yeah. This cake is brought by the Dutch. They brought the tart cake, and in Manado, so many coconut, and this mix between tart and coconut. And today, this part of the Manado cuisines. And interestingly, in the eastern part of Indonesia, in Nusantara, in Papua, the influence of the foreign culture in their food culture is so limited, and you can see the local food practice in the Papua in the Papua so different with the food culture in the other island that has get the influence from many foreign culture. Yeah, the bakar batu traditions, for instance, and
Which just means the roasting through
Yeah.
the stone,
Yes.
stone roasting. I think that's
yeah, and also the consumptions of sagu and tubers. This uh, this they can preserve the ancients of their ancient food culture until today. Yeah. So the image of Papuan food culture is very different if we compare in Java and Sumatra, yeah, and also in Kalimantan. Yeah, it's very different.
Right, because they still have they don't have any influences from outside. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Right, I see. So, since we talk about the influences from other culture, I want to get back to the ingredients that we can find in Nusantara cuisine. Like, for example, the ikan pekasam that I was telling you guys about. Is there any ingredients that you find? Because we're from all different countries here. Anet is from Singapore, and Mas Fadli is from Indonesia, and then you're from KL, from Malaysia. And is there any ingredients that you find in other countries aside from yours that you're surprised to find? Oh, actually, there's this ingredient in Indonesia as well. Oh, actually, there's this ingredient in Malaysia, or you know it already.
I want to mention, yeah, I think this stuff is more the process of the ingredients through the fermentations technique. In West Java, there is oncom. Definitely, this different with tempeh. You can find this in Singapore and Malaysia.
Does anybody know what oncom is?
Yeah.
So
Tempeh, do you know tempeh?
tempeh,
Yeah.
you do know, right?
Yeah, this only in Sunda in West Java. This fermented product that use peanuts or soybean, but the rhizopus or the fungi is different with tempeh. Yeah, yeah. I think
But
there
is
is.
it like a similar product?
Sorry,
Is it like a similar product
with
to tempeh?
oh difference. Yeah, different. And there is red and black oncom. Yeah.
I think you can try to find it in Google in your phone. It's spelled ONCOM.
Yeah.
Is it like taucho maybe?
Different?
No,
Totally
yeah.
different.
Yeah,
Totally different.
Such a soybean cake like tempeh, but the process of the fermentations different with tempeh. Yeah, for a fungi or the rhizopus to make oncom is a difference. So the Sundanese use this to add for sambal, for a sayur, yeah, and anything that used for their dishes. Yeah. How about in Malaysia and Singapore?
I think I would just like to highlight that we may also be calling it by different names. Like yesterday, we had a dessert called Putri Salju. And as I was saying, that I was so thrown because in Malaysia, we say salji. So I didn't know what salju was. And then I realized it was the same thing. I mean, the meaning was the same. It's just that we're saying it a different way. And I think in Indonesia, there's something called klepon, right?
Kelapa.
Yeah, which
Klepon,
I think we call onde onde.
Yes,
So
and onde for us is another thing.
Yeah,
I
another thing.
see.
Another
So that's the thing. I think that there are sometimes different terminology. I don't know about the differences in ingredients, but we may all be talking about the same thing, but referencing entirely different things. And then we're all getting confused because we thought we were talking about something, but somebody said something else. So I think there are probably a lot more similarities, just maybe the terminology that we are using is different.
I think putri salju is different with what Pak here serve and Mas Fiz serve in the dinner within Indonesia. Because putri salju in Indonesia, the shape is crescent and always served at Hari Raya.
And with powdered sugar as
Yeah,
well.
powdered sugar. Yeah,
why they call
I'm
it
surprised
putri
when you
salju.
mentioned this putri salju. Oh, it's different in Indonesia.
Right. So now I want to talk about how the methods of preparations are in Nusantara. And is there any specific method? Because you've all been aside from learning, of course, about Nusantara food, you've all been learning about other food culture as well, right? The European, the maybe Latin Americans, Indian methods of cooking. So, do you ever find something or a process of cooking that is uniquely Nusantara?
Sampai pecah minyak, that terminology, which you don't. So you cook something
what
until
is it
the
again?
oil separates.
Tumis.
Until
Tumis.
the oil
Pecah minyak,
separates.
right.
Yeah, so especially like when you make rendang and all that, and you have to keep stirring it until the oil separates, and you find that even in the making of like sambal, a lot of sambal belacan, where they say sampai pecah minyak, and I feel like that is pretty unique in terms of a cooking process, because I don't see it. I've never read a Western cookbook that said, "Oh, keep stirring until the oil separates." So I feel like in the culinary canon, I mean, at least in the Malay culinary canon, that is to me pretty unique.
Yeah, that is a good point actually, because I've learned. I was trained in French cuisine, and what the least you want to do is to get the oil to separate. We're making mayonnaise, we're making sauces. So yeah, that's a really good point actually.
I think to further add to that, because she's talking about rendang, I think the dry braise is also something that's quite unique to us, right? Most cultures, you braise something and you want the gravy, but whereas with rendang, for instance, you're braising to the point that there's no more moisture. So I think that's quite a different thing to add to what she's just said.
Right. So the technique of merandang, is that right?
Is that what it's called?
Yes, merandang. It's a technique from what I've learned from Minangkabau. So to actually get the moisture out to preserve anything that you randang. So it's a process. Yes.
I see.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. And maybe the coconut, braising in coconut, I think we do that very differently from other cultures. We really like braise our food in coconut. I think that's another unique thing.
I think for the context of merandang or randang in outside West Sumatra, Indonesia is very different in Java, for instance, because the image of rendang is not a dried meat or a blackish meat, but more a brownish and more weight. Yeah. So when the Javanese or Sundanese facing the dried and blackish rendang, so they very this is uncommon, because rendang is more we can say kalio, yeah. Even so, kalio and rendang is different, of course, yeah. And yeah, but we that live in Java call rendang in more weight and also brownies rather than blacks.
Has more sauce, right?
Yeah.
Yes. We were just actually talking about this with Chef Hafiz from Restaurant Fiz about our lunch today. In his opinion, rendang Minang, or what he had in West Sumatra, is burnt or hangus. And for Minangkabau people, that's rendang. And if it's not black as a Minang rendang, it's called still a kalio, right? So it's another style, but also differences in, I think, what we're used to. I think it's because in Malaysia, the rendangs are more like a light brown color, whereas in West Sumatra is not even dark brown, it's almost black. Yes, and the meat is very tough to eat. It's you have to use your force to use force with your teeth, or really take bit by bit, because it's a method of preservation. Whereas in Malaysia, I think it's no longer preserving. It's more of enjoyment, or like to just something to eat. Yeah. So we still have plenty of time. So yes, please, that's what I want to do. I want you guys to ask questions to these panelists. Sure. Do you need mic? Okay, cool.
Can you give us your perspective on chili, the use of chili in Nusantara, is it something that is an ingredient that was because of foreign influence, or is it always been the use of chilies, the different types of chilies? Tell us about our relationship with chili in Nusantara.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you guys can add something if you have.
Yeah. Chili is an important ingredient for people in Nusantara. Yeah, and in the perspective of history, I want to share about the transitions before and after chili cultivated in Nusantara, when the Portuguese and Spanish came to Nusantara since 16th century, and this chili has replaced the previous ingredients, such like pepper. Even though pepper is still existed, but the people of Nusantara more prefer to use chili, and in Java, beside pepper, there was also cabai Jawa or pepper retrofactum, and these spices not used anymore by the Japanese to make the hot dishes. They prefer to use chili or cabai. The people in Indonesia used to use the term of cabai to call this chili or capsicum, and the other ingredients before chili that use for the make the hot dishes is ginger. Yeah, the gingerin is used by the Japanese to make their dishes. To make sambal and also to make hot the dishes. And yeah, after 7th century and since 7th century until the 20th century, many variety of sambal that use chili. Yeah, and peoples in Indonesia always they make the experiments to make the chili to make a specific sambal in every regions. So I think there are dozens of sambals in Indonesia that make by the peoples in in one island and in the other islands, and this shows that chili, yeah, or capsicum as the prima donna or make the Indonesians so favor with this.
I think to add to that, it's not just Indonesians but also the people of Nusantara.
Nusantara.
Another point to what signifies it, also the use of sambal, right? I think in every culture in Singapore, there is actually a sambal from Singapore. I learned from Abang Kir Johari that there is a specific sambal from Singapore, and of course Malaysia, Indonesia, parts of Thailand, and also the Philippines. So chili. Thank you for the question. Chili, it really what signifies Nusantara, I would say. I mean, at least now, because like Mas Fadli said, back in the days, before chili was introduced here, I mean, to the archipelago, the use of cabai Jawa or a long pepper and ginger. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that is my understanding as well. I mean, in terms of the Malaysian context, I think the chilies were introduced when the Portuguese came, and that was what precipitated after that the sambals that came. And my understanding is also that the batu giling and the batu lesong were also developed around that time. So I suppose because the chili itself has a hard outer core, that the batu giling and the batu lesang were then used to soften it and make the sambals. And then in terms of varieties of sambals, I mean, there's so many, the options are endless. So in Malaysia as well, we have a lot of different kinds of sambals, and I think some that are also being phased out. So like sambal biji getah, which uses the rubber seeds, and is something that is dying out. And then some that are becoming increasingly difficult to find, like sambal belimbing bulo, which used to be a bit more popular, but now it's a bit harder to find the belimbing bulo. So you find that fewer people are making these dishes as well. But they represent this vast repository of sambals that form, the Nusantara cuisine, and are very representative of the introduction of chilies.
I think in Singapore, our history is pretty much tied to Malaysia. So in more modern times, I feel the chili has sort of been accepted also by the Chinese community, where, the Chinese food, apart from Sichuan, is not naturally spicy. But, you have things like Hainanese chicken rice and, Peranakan food. All of that incorporates chilies, which were quite new to those cuisines before they came to this part of the world.
Right, right. There is also one sambal which is very interesting that I found in the island of Timor, which is of course technically still part of Nusantara, but not part of at least Timor-Leste wasn't part of ASEAN, but not yet. But so it's called sambal luat, and it's basically a fermented sambal. So I think it's the only place I found, at least until now, that ferments its sambal and can last for a year, even 1 year fermented sambal, and the taste is very, very funky. It's because it's fermented, right? You have that fermented funky taste, yes, and then the sourness is present as well because of the fermentation, but also very spicy because apparently. The spiciness doesn't go off even after 1 year of leaving it inside a bamboo tube. So there is one very interesting sambal as well. Yes. Oh, please.
Yes, I just you were asking what is ulam. It's actually urapan. Ulam, you were asking what is ulam. It's urap.
Okay.
Yeah, it's raw vegetables, raw ulam. And another thing, Abi, I want to take a note on something. Because in making nasi ulam in Malaysia, especially among the Malay communities, you only use odd numbers of ulam. 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 and all. Like my grandmother, minimum 13, So that's why I'm very curious about this shop that say 44 nasi ulam, because
No, it's a heritage listed dish, nasi ulam 44.
44. Yeah. So in the Malay culture, you use odd numbers of ulam. Yes.
Is there a reason why you use the odd number?
Come again?
Is there a reason why you use the odd number?
I'm still actually struggling to find the answer to why. Like even in the Hantara, when you want to go for engagement, we never use odd numbers like 3, 5. I'm still surveying why, and I'm still digging on why Malays use odd, not even numbers.
I think the Javanese also uses odd numbers as well, especially if it relates to spirituality and also medicinal. Like for example, if you want to make tubol dan jamu from daun katuk, let's say, then you have to use either 3 or 5 or 7. So it has to be odd numbers. It's still a mystery, I think, a big mystery to us as to why. Do we have any more questions from the audience? It's the bell. Usually the speakers will like, oh, it's the bell, and for me, I'm like, it's the bell. Okay, so just one last question to the panelists here on the stage. So now we've talked a lot about Nusantara food, what signifies it, and what are the characteristics, the methods, ingredients. And since we're here now, in your opinion, I want to hear from each of you. Why does it matter for us to learn more about the vast gastronomy of Nusantara, and why does it matter for the audience here to be here right now in this present moment? Please.
I think for starters, cultural understanding is always important. Knowing what came before us will allow us to figure out where we're going, right? It also helps us to see, because Nusantara is such a huge region, that we are far more alike than we are different. It's just, what we take from what we've come by. So deepening that knowledge, one, makes you more curious, right? And when a cuisine becomes more mainstream, as Nusantara cuisine is being now, even in like fine dining restaurants and stuff like that, it also helps. Then people value the produce more. It helps the economy, the farmers, So there's a huge trickle down effect to knowing, being curious, and then trying to innovate and bring that into the future without losing all those things that took you here in the first place.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, most likely.
Yeah, in my point of view, this very important to protect our environment that serve the food, our food ecosystems. Yeah, we have so rich food biodiversity, and with the environmental change now, we face the problem, serious problem, when our ingredients of local food is now become rare and also extinct. Yeah, because the change of our food consumption pattern. Yeah. With the expansions of fast food industry, instant food industries, we need to preserve our environment, to preserve our common food culture. And the other point is to protect the history and our history and culture in context of our food culture, because we have a long historical and cultural roots that shape our common food culture in the context of Serumpun, and this very basic to preserve our DNA as the term of this panel. I think so.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Abhirami.
I think it's testament to our lived experience. I mean, we all experience this kind of food in the Nusantara region. So it's really more about sharing than it is about dividing. I mean, what Fadli said earlier about all these food wars, I don't think that does us any favors. Like, we're not going to progress that way. And there's no point claiming that this was invented by someone or created by someone. And past the point, like, if it's centuries down the line, does it really matter? Like, can you call something, I mean, just say that it's something that people eat in a particular place? So I think it's maybe also looking at sharing more, this exchange of culinary information and culinary awareness and culinary culture as well. Sharing it and letting more people know about it rather than claiming things in a more nationalistic sense.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause to our panelists. Thank you so much.